everyone. I just updated. I want to show you guys the firmware 5.1 versus the old one 4.48. So this here is 4.48, my current setting before I update, and then this other light is what it looks like after I update to the new firmware. So it'll keep your old setting, but there's some caveats you need to work out. So if you look here for the old setting, I have it at dark at midnight, which at zero, everything's zero out at midnight, and then it doesn't start the sunrise till till 6:42, and then so here on this one on the new update because now it does auto ramp, it's going to ramp from midnight to 2 watts 6:42 at at a consistent speed. So if obviously that's probably not what you guys want when you update to 5.1. So you need to, if you don't already have a zeroed out darkness, you need to move that closer to your first daylight that you want. So for example, here I would probably want to move it to maybe 6 o'clock or so. So put here to 6. Um, So now it will start ramping on 6 uh, to 6:45 is when the first when the first lights up. So when I make changes like before, when you make changes, it would highlight in yellow, and then when you select it, it'll highlight in red. So likewise, I'm kind of trying to keep the same consistency. So when you select a bar. So now you can select the bar from the top, the wattage, or the individual dots. The individual dots might be a little bit harder to select. I try to make the dots bigger so if you're on the phone, it's easier to click on, but it still might be a little bit more difficult. So use the wattage and the time on top to select. So when you make changes, it'll be yellow. The wattage and time will be yellow, and then when you select it, it'll be red. And then if you select it, it may change. If you're selected may changes, then it'll be orange. So orange means it's selected, and changes have been made but hasn't been saved yet. So let's go ahead and save that. So I'll save this, and then so now everything is black. It means all the settings are saved, and then so if you in the past, like in the old settings, I have moon here, which is it's a very basic moon, which means it's always at 7, plus the seasonal change 7 o'clock or 7:18, and then but it's gonna adjust to the phase. So you change your settings, and then it'll adjust to the actual moon phase. Um, but now you can still have that here. You can still have your moon here, but now there's another moon, which is the actual moon, which actually follows the actual moon of the in the sky. So here you can select your location. I just have it for you pre-programmed, but you can enter in your GPS coordinates for your location. But I have like Seattle and Florida and Australia uh, already pre-selected, so you can pick the ones you want. So if you like, for example, here I'm in Seattle, and then enable. So you have to before you enable. So by default, the moon will pick the first profile, which is maintenance 2 point maintenance, and then so your settings may be different for the first profile, and most likely you don't want the moon to be that bright. So you have to, before you enable it, just go ahead and pick the profile for your moon. Um, I'm going to do moon 1. So here I still limit to 20 profiles. So if you don't see a plus sign, that means you already have 20. And if, for example, this one, moon 2, I know I'm not using that one, I can delete. And then that would free up some more in the future if you want to add other stuff. So I'll go ahead and pick up moon for profile for my real moon, and then Um, so again, the yellow means there's changes, but it's not committed. So here I will enable the moon. And so now when you enable the moon, you see this bar on the bottom. So this is for today. The moonrise, it's close to 11 o'clock. It's not. I don't. It didn't. I don't have it show you the exact time. I guess I can do that in the future, put the exact time, but it seems kind of cluttered, so I don't have it displayed. But but if but so for today, the moon will rise at 11, close to 11 o'clock, and then it won't set till the next day at past 2 o'clock here. Let me just go ahead and save here, and then so here before so right now it's 3 o'clock. So before it was dark. Let me go ahead and turn the moon off again real quick and do a save. So you can see uh, now it's it's on this previous moon setting. So let's go ahead and disable this previous moon by changing the name here to let's do call it dark or something. So before there's an issue with if you rename it and it has the same name, it'll glitch the system. But now if it'll check to see if the name is already exists, it'll add a one or a two or three or so forth automatically for you. So here I'm going to change the name out of Moon, so now it's not in the basic Moon mode; it's just in the basic mode. So if I save here, you should see, here at this setting, 7 o'clock. Um, oh, I should probably zero this out. So let me put dark. So at 7 o'clock, it would be everything will be zeroed out. So now it's at, and then also, so between 7 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning, everything is zeroed out. So now close to 3 o'clock, everything is zeroed out. So that's another issue here. If, for example, that you're, because the settings will wrap around, but on the graphic display, I don't have it wrap around. So it'll look kind of like this. For example, let me just turn something up. Let's say you have this setting at the very end, and then it looks like it just drop off, but it's not. So what will happen is this will ramp from 7 o'clock. It'll ramp down to 6 a.m. to zero, right? From 220 11 watts to zero, and so that's just be careful because right now I don't have to um, I don't have it shown wrapping around, but it does wrap around. So let me cancel to undo that. Um, so right now I have 7 o'clock. The last setting is at zero, and then my first setting the next day is at zero. So here is that, so now is what the light is actually doing at zero. So if I go back to the moon setting and then have the profile that I want, enable the moon for the GPS coordinates, saved, and then it's gonna show today's moon. It's at 56% phase, so it's at whatever this setting times 56. So this will be um, royal blue will be close to 15, and then this will probably be like 7 or something like that. So here, yeah, 6 and 8 and 16. So it's gonna during this time, during the when the moon is out, it's gonna be this setting. So let's say when it's at 6, even though I told it to be at zero, because the moon is out, so it's going to do whatever is the brightest. So uh, when it's at 6, even though ramping up, it's still going to have this setting. It's going to have the moon setting until the setting is exceed what the moon intensity is. Then the regular program will take over. So like before, when you click on the bars, you'll highlight and it'll change all the settings. So all the setting adjusts to this bar. So before down here, there was a ramp, so you can manually set how much time you want to ramp to this setting. But now the ramp is automated from the feedback I get from people. Um, so it's a little bit simpler, and so the graphics pretty much shows what the light will do, except when you wrap around. You know, the wrapping around is right now it's not done, and so I would recommend just at night set everything to 0, and then prior to your first light that you want to show, um, also set that to 0. So this is so yeah, so this when it's a little bit close, it's hard to select. Um, Maybe in the future I'll put a button so you can do left and right. Uh, but so for 7 o'clock, 6:45, maybe so it's from 6, so start ramping up to 2 watts. But maybe this is too close, so I can do like say 5:30, move it over a little bit. So saved. So now everything is saved, and this is the new. This is how it looks, I guess. All the other like group setting, everything else is same. You know, when you have individual ones selected, it only saves to the individual one. When you click on the group on the aquarium, then it saves everything to the aquarium. Um, what else is there? Oh, for now, the cloud is disabled. I mean, you can set it, but it won't do anything. I haven't programmed it to do anything yet. Uh, Maybe the next update, I will get that back enabled. Um, and then so here when you want to add more, so before there you can only add um, like you can only add 10 bars because of this. I didn't want to declutter the screen, but now that it's just lines, mm, I figure maybe some people might want more. So now there's 19, so you can have up to 19. So when you click on add, it'll highlight what was added, and then um, if you don't want it, let's say you add it and then you save, and then so now this is uh, this is the one I just added, and if I don't want it, select it and then click on X, and then it'll delete it just like before. And and then if you want to preview what it'll look like, then double click on you double click on these guys, or double tap. So if I double click here, then it'll move the two to here, and it'll be manual mode. So make sure you have manual timer other greater than 0. Otherwise, it will preview and it instantly go back to what it's supposed to go. And then when you wanted to resume, you just hit resume. So this part is the same as before. Just like this part here, you can you can preview, double click, preview. That's that same as before. So you can and then you can preview the moon also. But the moon is already on. So but you can preview what the full moon will look like by double click here, and then I'll show you what the full moon will look like. And resume. And then so the other thing about adding is it whatever you had before, it'll add it back. But then if you have like the new ones, let's say new ones I started adding, and then it'll just um, put a bunch of them close by, but it make it hard to select. So I recommend, you know, add one at a time, make changes, and if you need more, then add some more. Don't just like add all 19, and then yeah, then it'll be kind of crazy, and then you can't select which one exactly that you want uh, canceled. And then so I've also let me go to firmware setting. Let me save this to my cloud. Okay, so I saved this to the cloud, and then so I also changed some settings um, with the default SPS and LPS. So let's say when you update it to 5.1 and then your settings all messed up and you can't figure out how to like get it so it look right. So then you can just go to retrieve LED and then just use one of these as a default settings to play with. So you can click on here, um, and then this will be, this will, you can use that as a default setting, and then you can then just mess with it one at a time. So I want to go back to my settings. I want to load settings that I save on the cloud. Should I go back? Okay, so that's pretty much it. Um, so right now, if you're on the desktop, you can click on one of these and then you can drag the settings. The reason this one is and this one is moving at the same time is because they have the same profile, and that's the same way as before. So if you have the same profile, you change it in one period, it affects the other one. If you don't want it to change, then you have to have uh, individual, unique profiles. So you can copy this and then create another one, and then so they can be different. But for convenience, I like to keep these two the same, so I have it on the same profile. What I'm saying is, so here you can drag up and down. You can't drag left and right. I disabled the time drag because then I think if you try to drag the set intensity and then also the time, it just gets too confusing and messy, especially when you get all the dots too close to each other. So here, when you can change the settings here, or you can change the setting by dragging. Uh, when you change it and let go, it'll rescale. It'll rescale to the settings. So the scale from 0 to 100%. So right now it'll clip it to whatever your max setting is. So right now 43 watts. It's using only about 18% of the total power of the light. But if I max everything out, then the scale will change to 100%. So this is roughly 270 watts when it's 100%. So I want to undo this cancel. So right now, the dragging part is only done on desktop. In the mobile screen, it's a little bit, it's hard to get your finger right on the dot to move it. So I have it disabled. But in the future, I might have it maybe a graphic settings that you can save to the light, where if you want to enable it for mobile, you can. And then so the other issue is when each one of them, like here, each one has a setting, so they're stacked on top of each other. So you can select each one individually. But then if they're all zeros, for example, or some of them are zeros, like here, this one here, from line up, it's all zeros. So they kind of they're on top of the blue, right? So when you drag, you're only dragging the blue. You're not dragging the other ones. The other one stays at zero. So you could just, use the slider here to control it, right? Each one, or you can uh, double click. So when you double click and hold down the mouse, it would go to the next light channel that you can adjust settings on, like that. Uh, I don't. I just thought that's kind of. I don't know how convenient that is, but I thought that's kind of cool. But anyway, so yeah, so I'll cancel and do it. And then um, what else is there? Yeah, I think that's about it. Um, yeah, so I reprogrammed the light to so that it'll work with this auto ramp and everything. So when you're out of the manual mode, it automatically let's for example, let's change the time to somewhere in the ramp so you can see what it does. So I'll change it to 8:30. So that's between 7:30 and 9:30. Hopefully my fish doesn't freak out. Copy the time and then change it to 8:30 a.m. Hit save. And so what that does is now it's going to ramp up to where the slope is at 8:30 should be. So it's between 23 watts and 43 watts. So that should be like 33 watts. Yeah, so here it is, 33 watts. Um, so everything is, and then, so you can change the time to 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 see what it looks like. Let me change the time back. So to change it back, you hit clear and you hit save, and then it'll go back to the right time, and then it'll should ramp again. So just to show you what the moon would look like every day is different. So, I'll copy this again, and we'll keep the time, and we'll just move for one day. So like, 16. Um, you see that it's the moon sets, it's later, moon rises is later, and then you can change the time again, the 17th, save. And then so this one, 17th is kind of unique, right? So there's no moonrise. That's the way it is. For August 17th, the whole day, there's no moon rise because it already risen the previous day, and it sets at close to 4 something, close to 5 o'clock. So you can progress, let's say the next day, 18th, right? It just keep moving forward, setting it later and later, and then it's pretty soon it'll start rising here. The and then so you can also see it at different locations. So let's say we pick somewhere close to Miami, um, and I hit save. So now this is the moon for that location, and then let's just undo everything. So let's clear this out, save, and then move it to today, current time. We're still in Miami location, so let's go back to Seattle. And then you see the moon rise, the moon set changes. Okay, so that's it. Um, hopefully, if you're worried about your setting conversion may not be correct or have problems, just then maybe wait. Don't update right away. Maybe I'll write it something code to do the conversion better. Or if you like me, if you have like um, dark at midnight, and then the next one is at 7, so instead of ramping up from 0 to 5 watts um, from midnight, I would probably you know arbitrarily create another bar at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or something like that. That is dark. So this way, it it would more I guess be what you intentionally wanted. Um, but otherwise, or just retrieve from one of these settings here, and then just play around with it from here. So that's another good way to do it. Um, so that's it. Um, Hope you guys enjoy this new interface. Um, Alrighty, that's it for now. Bye. One last thing I forgot to mention. So some people want to have to be able to, so I removed the turn screen on and off from the menu. Some people want to be able to program it so your display screen turns off at a certain time. And so here, if you go to your period bar, you see screen in on, and it's by default they're all checked. So you can let's say at night you want it to you want it to turn off, so just hit and check it, and then so from 7 uh, 18 p.m. to the next period, which is 5, it's going to be the screen's going to be off. Um, so be very careful, when you do this because when you let's say you save it and the screen's off, like right now 3 a.m. 3:14, the screen is off. And then if you lose, if something happens and you want to be able to see the IP address or whatever, you want to see the display screen, you can't until you can enable it back on. So if you, for whatever reason, you can't connect to your light, or if you sell your light to somebody else and this setting is still on, but I guess when you sell your light to somebody else, it wouldn't connect to the internet. Um, and then so it'll go by the power up time. So power time is at 1 a.m. Um, then it's gonna load the screen off, and then it's yeah. So then you won't have a screen either. So maybe the next firmware update I will change it so if you lose this Wi-Fi connection and you're in AP mode, maybe the screen will turn on. And then, well, don't the reason uh, so the person for the institute requested it to have screen off at a certain time because they don't want it to interfere with the corresponding. So I yeah, so that it's going to be you don't I don't want it to turn on into an AP mode because what if at the middle of the night their Wi-Fi goes down or something, then you don't want the screen to turn on to which may interfere with corresponding. So just just be if you're not tech savvy, just leave the screen on because without the screen, it's going to be hard to know what the light is doing, what IP address it's on, if it's in AP mode or if it's connected to Wi-Fi. So just just yeah, just be cautious. Turn it off at your own risk, because without knowing your network or whatever, it's going to be impossible for me to debug what's going on with your light if your screen is not on. Okay, so that's the little disclaimer there. Okay, all right, that's it.